In West Virginia, a trio of friends named Pete, Rosalie, and Kathy is at a cinema, watching a rom-com film on the big screen. In the film, an attractive young man says some romantic words to his co-star as the two share a kiss wrapped in a warm embrace. Rosalie and Kathy swoon over the scene and rave about the lead actor, Tad Hamilton, whom they regard as an ideal man. However, Pete, who isn't impressed with the actor's performance or appearance, rolls his eyes in disgust. Meanwhile, on that same night, Tad Hamilton is out in the city, drinking and smoking while behind the wheels. The actor is caught in the act by the paparazzi, who capture and publish the damning photo on the cover of a celebrity gossip magazine. The next day, Tad has a meeting with his team, who are livid at his recent antiques. They inform him that he's losing movie deals as a result of his reckless behavior, and would need to rack up some good PR to revive his nosediving career. After some brainstorming, they ultimately decide to organize a competition where one woman gets to win an all-expense-paid date with him. Back in West Virginia, Rosalie and Kathy, while at work, discover the Tad Hamilton dating competition from a poster on the internet. Rosalie instantly attempts to enter the competition but soon finds that it requires a $100 entrance fee. With the approval of Pete, their store manager, the girls begin a charity petition there in the store to help raise the money. After a few days, they successfully raise the required fee, and Rosalie enters the competition. One night, as the group drives towards Rosalie's house, they spot several reporters waiting on her lawn. When they alight from the vehicle, they are informed by the press officials that Rosalie won the Tad Hamilton contest. Hearing this, Rosalie and Kathy are ecstatic and jump in celebration. The following day, Rosalie, who is about to embark on the trip to meet Tad Hamilton, is escorted to the airport by Pete and Kathy. After they say their goodbyes, Rosalie boards the plane and, shortly after, arrives in Los Angeles. She is taken to her hotel room, where she is checked into a celebrity suite. She spends the entire day practicing what she'd say to Tad, after which, she dresses up and waits for his arrival. Later that night, she hears a knock on the door and opens it to find Tad smiling at her. A starstruck Rosalie is in shock and fumbles her words, before eventually regaining her composure and heading out with him for dinner. As the couple leave the hotel, they are bombarded by a group of paparazzi who take pictures of them exiting the premises. Rosalie and Tad enter a luxurious limousine and are dropped off at a fancy restaurant, where they enjoy a delicious meal together. After the relaxing evening, Tad takes Rosalie to a secluded road on the outskirts of LA, where they see the city lights and are mesmerized by its beauty. When they're done there, Tad invites Rosalie to his house. Feeling flattered by his invitation, she accepts the offer. When the pair arrive at his house, he informs her that no one else is present. This freaks Rosalie out as she changes her mind and decides to head back to her hotel room instead. Tad volunteers to drop her off, and the duo re-enters the limo, which halts in front of her hotel. Before Rosalie drops off, Tad kisses her and bids her goodnight as she exits the car. When she returns to her room, she is overwhelmed by the night's proceedings and screams in excitement. The following day, Rosalie returns to her job in West Virginia and fills Pete and Kathy in on the trip's details. Kathy is fascinated by her description while Pete lackadaisically listens to her story. When Rosalie's done, Pete asks to talk to her about a serious issue plaguing his mind. However, before he can muster up the courage to tell her, he is interrupted by Tad, who barges through the door. The group is astonished to see him, especially Rosalie, who immediately asks what he is doing in their small secluded town. Tad answers that he is there to see her, after which, he offers to treat her to lunch. Without hesitation, Rosalie accepts his offer and informs Pete that she'd be taking an early lunch break. The duo then head to a nearby diner, where they enjoy a meal together. In the diner, the couple is closely watched by a group of Tad fans, whom they ignore as they continue their meal. Once again, Rosalie asks Tad why he came all the way from Los Angeles to meet her. In response, Tad states that he enjoyed his time with her on their last date, and would like to keep seeing her as he greatly enjoys her company. Rosalie is thrilled to hear this and agrees to spend more time with him. When Rosalie returns to work, her colleagues applaud her for going on another date with Tad, while Pete watches on in jealousy. Later that day, Rosalie briefs Pete on what Tad said about enjoying her company. However, Pete discourages her from pursuing the budding romance, stating that Tad is only there to sleep with her. Angered by this, Rosalie informs him that she and Tad will be going on a date that night. Pete tries to stop her by asking her to work the night shift, but Rosalie ignores his commands and storms off. In the meantime, Tad checks into a local motel in town. Not used to such modest establishments, he finds the place quite inconvenient. On getting to his room, he immediately calls the receptionist and inquires if the motel has a better suite. However, before he gets an answer, the conversation is interrupted by an incoming call from his manager. Tad picks up the call and is bombarded with a plethora of questions from the manager, who is curious about his whereabouts. Tad reveals to his manager that he's safe and sound in a small town in West Virginia. The man is shocked at hearing this and asks why he went on such a spontaneous trip out of LA. Tad comes clean and tells him about Rosalie, stating that he really likes her and wants to spend time with her, much to his manager's dismay. The latter explains that Tad and Rosalie are from completely different worlds. Hence, they can't work. However, Tad remains adamant about spending time with Rosalie and ignores his manager's pessimistic predictions. On ending the call, he resumes the conversation with the receptionist, who sadly informs him that there is no bigger suite. That evening, Rosalie and Tad go to the cinema to watch a movie, after which, they go for a drive and park at a recreational site. Feeling a strong attraction for each other, the couple begins making out. However, they are soon after busted by the cops who received an anonymous tip reporting a couple of illegal parking. Right then, Rosalie spots Pete's car at a corner, driving away, hence, revealing that he was the one who called the cops. The next day, Rosalie arrives at work fuming with anger over Pete, tipping the cops. Pete explains that he was merely trying to protect her and once again reiterates that Tad is only trying to sleep with her. Later that night, Rosalie, Tad, Pete, and Kathy all go to a local bar for a drink. After drinking for a while, both Tad and Pete end up in the men's restroom. In one of the stalls, Pete corners and confronts Tad about his intentions with Rosalie. Tad confesses that he isn't just trying to sleep with her and assures Pete that he genuinely likes her. Eventually, an unconvinced Pete leaves the stall but not before warning Tad not to break her heart. In the following scene, Rosalie is in Tad's hotel room. The couple is in the middle of a steamy makeout session when suddenly, they hear a knock on the door, followed shortly by a pair of voices calling out to Tad. A surprised Tad recognizes it to be the voices of his manager and agent, and opens the door to let them in. Before he can ask any questions, they inform Tad that he has landed a lead role in a huge upcoming movie. Tad is ecstatic on hearing the news and celebrates with his team. However, he notices Rosalie's mood change right as they start celebrating. Instantly, he realizes that he would have to travel to Los Angeles for the job and potentially leave Rosalie behind. Not wanting this, he invites her to accompany him to Hollywood. Rosalie rejects the offer at first, explaining that he doesn't love her but merely loves the idea of her. However, Tad disagrees and assures Rosalie that that is not the case, as he truly loves her. After Tad gives a heartfelt speech explaining this, Rosalie is convinced and agrees to go with him to the city. Meanwhile, back at the bar, Pete is sulking over losing Rosalie to Tad, and drowns his sorrow with consecutive rounds of liquor. The bartender, Angelica, notices this, prompting her to ask about the problem. An intoxicated Pete opens up for the first time about his feelings for Rosalie, explaining that he is in love with her. In response, the bartender asks if he has told her how he felt, but Pete shakes his head in negation. Learning this, Angelica gives him an endearing speech about love and asks him to fight for what he wants. Pete is motivated by the speech, which gives him the courage he needs to head over to Rosalie's house to confess how he truly feels. There, he finds her packing as she informs him that Tad has invited her to accompany him to Le. Pete is demoralized hearing this but decides to go along with his plan and abruptly kisses her. The gesture takes Rosalie by surprise, but she doesn't stop him. After the kiss, Pete confesses that he has been in love with her for years and asks her to be with him. Rosalie is left dumbfounded by the confession and is unable to give Pete a definitive reply. A heartbroken Pete interprets her silence as rejection and walks away. The following day, Rosalie is escorted by her dad and Kathy to the airport, where she boards a private plane with Tad as they begin their trip to Los Angeles. On the way there, Tad tells Rosalie about Pete's warning to him, not to break her heart. Hearing this, Rosalie registers how much Pete selflessly cares about her and finally realizes that she, in turn, loves him too. Rosalie apologizes to Tad for the inconvenience and explains to him that Pete is the one that she truly loves. Tad is heartbroken by the confession but understands and respects her decision. Ultimately, the plane turns around and heads back to West Virginia, where Rosalie drops off. On arrival, she immediately runs to the supermarket to meet Pete, but is informed by Kathy that he didn't show up to work that day. A concerned Rosalie borrows Kathy's car and swiftly races to his house. There, she finds Angelica, the bartender, who informs her that Pete had packed up and left town. Scared to lose him for good, Rosalie re-enters the car and speeds after him. Luckily, after about an hour of driving, she spots him in his car right on the outskirts of town. She pulls her car just beside his and horns repeatedly to get his attention. A startled Pete drives his car off the road and quickly hits his brakes. The duo comes out of their respective cars, after which, Rosalie professes her love for him with a heartwarming declaration. The movie ends as the couple dance playfully on the tarred road, in tune with the romantic soundtrack exuding from the car's radio.